Hey guys, what's going on? Tyrauku here, and today I got a video that if you use this champion in this situation, you probably already know about this, but if you don't and you've used her like this before, this is going to be news to you. Now, this champion I've talked about before. I talked about the specific use, and it was actually pretty awesome. The way it wasn't how the text defined it to happen, but it worked much better. Now, several weeks ago, or maybe even a few months ago, we had the Mercy Tracker in Raid, a third-party application. Well, it wasn't in the game, but we were able to track it. Well, a little while later, Plarium cut that off from a patch that kind of just slipped under the radar. Well, recently, I don't know when exactly this happened. Some of you guys may know. Honestly, I've not seen anything about this whatsoever, except for in my Discord. Quirkzilla mentioned that this champion is no longer working how she used to work, and that champion is Umbral Enchantress. Now, Umbral Enchantress has a awesome skill kit. Okay, she's a demon spawn champion, which demon spawns in and of themselves have a fairly difficult time when it comes to doing faction wars. Now, don't get me wrong, they have some amazing champions, but a lot of them are these legendaries. Duchess is one of the champions who, if you pull her for faction wars for demon spawn, you're going to go through it a lot easier. The epics, you can definitely get through it with them, but either way, Umbral is a very good champion for faction wars, for early game progression, for the game in general. I even used her for Doom Tower for quite a while. However, the usability of her has kind of decreased, to be honest. I mean, it's not going to be a huge difference, but her A3 ability, it basically places a provoke, all enemies, places it for 2 turns, which provoke for 2 turns is a lot better than a lot of champions have. You know, and this ability is so good, especially since it's bookable up to a 100% chance to land. She's void affinity, so she's always landing a provoke for 2 turns on all enemies, but it comes with the downside. And the downside is places a block active skills debuff on this champion for 5 turns. Okay, for 5 turns, that's a long time to where you can't use any abilities. Well, used to, even just a few days ago, you could actually bring in a Doom Priest, you could bring in a Skytouch Shaman, anybody who cleansed the debuff, you could bring them in alongside Umbral. Heck, I even think that some of the accessories, the cleansing accessories, or even some of the masteries could actually cleanse her from this block active skills debuff. However, this text has always been there. It's always said the block active skills debuff cannot be resisted or blocked and cannot be removed. This has always been there and it's always been the case. However, for a long time, you were able to bring in those champions and do the exact thing. This allowed you to be pretty, I guess, easy using Umbral. She could fit in anywhere. I mean, you had to bring in a cleanser with her, so you do have to make the extra slot in your team allow that to be for somebody else, but she worked out perfectly. I don't think it was overpowered. I mean, it's mostly just using PvE content, and it was good. I think it was perfectly fine. And in the arena, it doesn't really matter if that's there or not, because Umbral is going to provoke the enemies, which is really what you want, and then the battle is basically going to be decided from there on. I mean, 2 turns of provoke is quite a bit. But let's go ahead and go in here to the Doom Tower. It costs no resources to test this, so I want to show you guys what's going on with Umbral. I'm going to bring Skytouch Shaman in with her, and used to, I believe you could block the debuff. I'm not 100% sure if you could or not, but I do know for 100% certainty that you were able to remove it. We place the provoke on everybody, perfectly fine, no issue whatsoever there. We have 5 turn of block active skills, and it doesn't remove. Okay, that's with Sky Touched. Maybe Doom Priest removes it. Maybe Doom Priest has like, I don't know, the secret ability to remove this buff from Umbral Enchantress. Maybe the magic eraser of the Umbral Enchantress debuff. Let's see. Let's see if Doom Priest can be the magic eraser. That's the word I was looking for. All right, Doom Priest. Like I said, I didn't test this out. This is what I believe I used in a previous video, because Doom Priest has a cleanse every turn, right? So each time she takes a turn, she's cleansing everybody from 1 debuff. Umbral is only going to have 1 debuff. Now, not everything is lost, even though she can't cleanse. Skytouch block debuffs doesn't work either, so the text is working as it's supposed to. Now, is it the end of the world for Umbral? No. I'm going to show you guys some things that, now that we have to think about some new options for Umbral, maybe you guys can consider this, because she's still an amazing champion and should definitely be used. I mean, if you're early game, Umbral's amazing. Okay, let's see, A3, and there we go, block active skills still on. So if somehow you guys know how you can get around this, let me know, because it would be interesting and helpful for a lot of people. However, let's go ahead and look at Umbral's remainder of her kit. All right, so she still has two abilities, A1 and A2 ability, which we'll see how they perform and how good they can be. And I think this is going to change a lot of how you gear Umbral. Used to, you could put her in really in whatever set. She did fine. You run with her cleanser, and her kit works no problem. Well, now I think you can put her in specific sets, and she'll be pretty similar to how she used to be. Not quite the same, of course, but she'll definitely be really good. Her A2 ability, she has a 3-turn cooldown, but attacks all enemies and has an 80% chance of placing block buffs debuff for 3 turns. It's amazing, okay? So if you have her going fast enough to where she's going first, lapping the enemies, she's going to keep block buffs up on the enemy at all times. Things like Faction Wars. Things like, well, Arena. Anywhere the enemy's going to place buffs that could mess up how you run, how you function, your teams, just use Umbral to place her A2. It's no problem. You can even turn off this A3 ability. I mean, this A3 ability is amazing, but it does prevent you from using this ability for the 5 turns. Unless you use Immolate first. So if you use Immolate first, then you can use this A3. But, I mean, if the enemy has block buffs already up and you provoke them, you're kind of not really getting the most out of her kit, because if the enemy's provoked, they can't apply buffs anyway. So you can do whatever you want there, but I do think there may be reasons to turn off this ability. Now in PvP, this ability is still basically the same as it was before. However, in other areas, you may just want to turn this ability off, keep block buffs up. I'm thinking this is going to be a big thing, especially in Faction Wars, because if you're going fast enough, you're just going to cycle through, you're going to keep block buffs up the entire time. And this is where we get into talking about Reflex set. Reflex and or Relentless. So Reflex and Relentless are going to work very similar, especially if you have this ability turned off. Reflex is going to reduce the cooldown of specifically this ability, and Relentless is going to give you an extra turn, reducing the cooldown of this ability specifically as well. But it gives you an extra turn so you can hit again. Now, Umbral is very good when she's lower HP. Now, I don't necessarily love the idea of letting her go low into her HP. I'd rather keep her up high, but she has the benefit of increasing her damage as her HP decreases. So you ain't gonna be too worried, I guess, if she goes kind of low. But honestly, I wouldn't be gearing her like in Swift Parry specifically for the idea of hoping you get low to do a big one-shot damage. She can do some decent damage, but it's not really going to be what you're going to be going for in most situations. Now, enough of that clicking back and forth. I don't know why I'm clicking skills and artifacts. I guess I don't know where I'm going right now, but let's look at the Reflex set. So the Reflex set, this is going to be, I think, my second choice personally. This one is a great set. There's a lot of uses, especially with the AI changes that came out. The uses for Reflex have just like gone up tenfold. But the issue is this is farmable from the Ice Golem. A lot of people just don't farm the Ice Golem. It has great sets, but when you compare it to Dragon, Fire Knight, and Spiders, it's kind of on the lower side of things, all right? Granted, with this being boosted and much better now, the Ice Golem may go up in popularity, but as it currently stands, I think Relentless, while technically probably a little bit lesser in this situation than Reflex, because it has an 18% chance of giving you an extra turn, which in theory is going to work out the same way as a Reflex set, or pretty similar. I mean, you're going to be reducing the turn of the same ability because you only have one thing on cooldown. However, you can proc Relentless multiple times in a row. Take a turn, get an extra turn. On that extra turn, you can take a turn and then get another one. So you could definitely do block buffs, take enough turns, and do it again, but you don't really need to do that. But Relentless is a set that I think is easier to get. Even if you're not winning your tournaments, you probably still have a decent set of this. So either one of these two sets, I think, are a very solid option. Relentless or Reflex, very good on Umbral. But then other than that, you can gear her defensive and HP based, very tanky. You could even gear her to do some damage. Guys, that is the, I guess, PSA announcement for Umbral and what's been going on with her. I did go and test Skytouch Shaman, put her in Frenzy gear, and I tested Ragnar in some Frenzy gear as well. Make sure that the Frenzy gear was still working how it's not supposed to. Like I mentioned before, Frenzy is not supposed to give you the turn meter boost if you deal damage to yourself. But let me go ahead and show you guys that currently, as we speak, that is still working. Okay, so Ragnar does have an ability where he boosts his own turn meter. And let's see from this A2. So we do this. You can see right here, he gets an extra turn. Boosts his turn meter, gets an extra turn. Now, wait, before we start saying, oh, well, Ragnar's A2 boosts his turn meter anyway. That's probably why he's getting an extra turn. Pump the brakes. Let me show you guys something else, okay? So we'll go back down to Ragnar and we'll take off the weapon I just equipped. Now there's 5 speed on this weapon. So let me go ahead and swap this with another piece that has 5 speed as well. which hopefully is not too difficult to find. Earlier, I swapped it with a piece. Actually, let's just do the boots. So 40 speed on the boots. Let's go 40 speed on another pair of boots. Just be an even swap. Heck, we could even do some extra speed, but no speed change here whatsoever. Equip this. Dang it. All right, well, maybe I should prepare a little bit better before doing this. Hopefully I'm not selling something that's too good. All right, now try this again. Silver is an issue. Definitely. All right, switching these boots and removing the people from the roster, the filling in. Now, remember, Ragnar did his A2, got an extra turn. Let's see what happens here. This is A2, no turn meter boost. Oh, look, he did not get an extra turn. They took a turn. So that shows you right there that the Frenzy set is still working how it's not supposed to. However, this may not be the case for very much longer, because as I made my Umbral Enchantress video a while back, things have changed now. I'm hoping the Frenzy set doesn't change because it allows for a lot more, I guess, usability, some fun creative things with it, but we'll see as time goes on. I know Skytouch Shaman using Fury gear was pretty popular, or Frenzy gear, sorry, Frenzy gear, not Fury. I keep messing those names up, but either way, let me know, guys. Do you know of any other cool and unique set or set synergy with champions that we haven't talked about on this channel yet? Because as we're seeing, some of them are changing. Maybe some other champions have some unique functions that I would love to see. If you have any, definitely leave it down below. Send me a DM on Discord or whatever. Guys, also don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this content. And watch the next video if you're interested in either one of them. Thank you all for sticking around, and I'll catch you in the next one.